Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Hi everybody, welcome to The Garage, the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton's behind the camera, Thursday. I cannot wait till tomorrow when we are at the dining room table, you and I, on the telephone or on the air. JeremyCordeaux.com, 9 o'clock till 12. Live streaming. And I'll give you the telephone number in a little while because I'd love you to join us on any subject, anything that is in the news, close to your heart, getting up your nose or on your chest, and my God, there is enough. I got a lot of response from Pete. Did you see a lot of new names and comments?
Yes, it's very encouraging.
It was mostly Alan Jones' guest appearance on this posting yesterday. I mean, he talks like a machine gun, but my God, you wouldn't want to get in the way of the spray, I tell you. And what he says makes brilliant logic, common sense. Cannot imagine anyone not understanding what he has had to say, or what indeed the Court of Public Opinion has had to say. Very much the same, of course. Now, Pete, you know I don't understand the technology too much, but the idea was if you like the things that Alan was saying, you can
share it. You
can pass it on to other people. Now, can you imagine the audience that we have here? Then that goes off to other people who pass it on to other people who pass it on to other people. I think this sort of message has got to be seen. The more people who start to think about this whole voting business for the referendum.
Yes, people must please share these posts between now and the voting time.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time. I'm going to wear this T-shirt for the next week and a day, or whatever it is. It is so important. But more to say about that later. A 6-month low on the ASX, the stock exchange, and a dip on Wall Street as well. I don't know. I mean, it goes up and down. It's nothing to particularly worry about. What is of concern is another construction company, Chatham Homes, Victorian company. That's gone overnight. 50 homes under construction. Terrible for the people who are involved in that. And I'm talking about not just the people who've signed the contracts to build the homes, but I'm talking about the subcontractors who probably will never get their money. 50 homes under construction. Now, there's something going on in construction, as we've said on this program several times, a shakeout or a crisis. Well, it's now well over 1,700 construction companies in receivership. Be careful. Just be careful. Whichever side of the contract you happen to be on. Oh dear. Petrol prices are becoming a major cost of living issue. Well over $2 a litre. Pete, can you remember the last time petrol was $2 a litre?
Oh, look, no, it's going back a while, but...
I don't think even back in the 70s when there was the... oil crisis with Saudi Arabia holding the world over an oil barrel. I don't think it ever got...
It was under $1 back then.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can remember it being
it was
a few
under
cents.
$1. Yeah.
But look, please remember, it may well be over $2 a litre, but please remember that half that money is government taxes. Half government taxes. The government wants to spend 400 million plus on this useless referendum. But no relief from the outrageous costs of fuel for the average Australian citizen.
And remember, Jeremy, There was never supposed to be a tax on a tax.
No, that's right.
But that is the case with petrol.
Yeah, it is.
There's a fuel excise, well, not a tax, and a tax on that.
But you know why they get away with it? Because we are complacent. Nobody sort of says, hey, we are not paying this. We just not that sort of people. We don't do that. We just cop it. We got to stop copying it. That's the truth. The federal government could cut excise today. But you know what? They're greedy. And they've probably spent the money already. I hear in the allocation of ministerial portfolios in Victoria under the new Premier, Jacinta Allen, that they have appointed a new minister, with all that goes with that, a new minister for bicycles. Oh my God, bicycles! Are you Victorians going to vote for this nonsense next time? God help you. God help you. What about a minister for hand-wringing, navel-gazing? Can you think of anything, Pete?
Oh, look, it's insane. It's just insane.
They're very big on things like pill testing. Pill testing. You know, if you go to a music gig and somebody, well, they're not going to give you, you're going to buy some pills. If you're stupid enough to buy pills from a total stranger and think you're going to get some sort of high out of it, do not be surprised if you get a low. Maybe a very low. But oh, no. Bring your pills to the counter, we'll check that they're okay. What nonsense. What message is that? Like the safe injecting room. What the hell message is that sending to people? But now in Melbourne, of course, they want two. How about a minister for street demonstrations? Here's a better idea. Professor Eric Kaufmann of the University of Buckingham, who was sacked, has declared war on woke and nonsense, the rubbish that caused his demise. And he's gone to a rival institution. He's established a faculty for common sense. A faculty for common sense. Let me read you a bit about it. I will tell you more about it tomorrow when I'm sitting at the dining room table and we've got more time. An eminent professor, cancelled by students at a top London university, has launched a war on woke. For founding, what he's done is to establish a new faculty for common sense at a rival institution. Professor Eric Kaufmann, 53, formerly head of politics at Birkbeck University of London, is creating a centre for social science as a beacon of academic free speech at the University of Buckingham. He hopes it'll become a globally recognised centre for research into today's culture wars, examining woke attitudes to controversial subjects such as trans rights and ethical race theory, or critical race theory. Professor Kaufmann's first course, Woke the Origins, Dynamics and Implications of an Elite Ideology, will be launched in January. A master's degree will follow in September 2024. Both are the first of their kind in the world. It's a fairly long story. It's 3 pages long. Tune in, jeremycordeaux.com, tomorrow, 9 o'clock. I'll read you some more of it. Professor Kaufmann, we love you. A faculty for common sense. Yes. What else is there before we get into the yes-no business? House prices have risen for the 8th month in a row. Prices are up in all the mainland capitals. You know, of course, that the Reserve Bank has left the interest rates on hold, as we predicted on Monday they would. Prices up in mainland Australia, capital cities, particularly Adelaide. Sydney, the median house price is 1.1 million. 1.1 million. Most growth in the capitals, Perth, Adelaide, Brisbane. More and more evidence of however hard it might be. There is nothing more fundamentally important than buying your own home. And if you think it's difficult today, I don't think it's ever been easy. Ever. Something else I want to talk to you tomorrow about, the pitfalls of not letting our kids take risks. Now, I really identify with this story because my mother was forever criticised because they called her an anxious mother. Well, she was a widowed mother. She had 2 boys and she had to take total responsibility for us, along with our grandparents, of course, who lived with us to make the whole thing happen, work. Deakin University, and I've never seen a study like this before, but they have for the first time looked at this business of what they call helicopter parents. Helicopter parents are parents apparently who hover. I see nothing wrong with that. I grew up with it and I worked around it. Parents, particularly a single parent, is going to worry. I would much rather have a helicopter parent than a parent who was gone out, maybe at the club, playing poker machines, ignoring the responsibilities of parenthood. I'd love to know what you think about it. Imagine Deakin University. Why would they study something like that? A parent is a parent. You worry. That's the territory. Anyway, tomorrow we'll take calls on it. 0491 65 68 60. 0491 65 68 60. But if you tune in the morning, we'll mention the number various times. Constantly, in fact. I want to talk to you about childcare. You might like to talk about that tomorrow as well. Childcare, the cost is ridiculous, up 20% on last year. The most subsidised and the most expensive in the OECD. The ACCC, everyone's got initials, the ACCC is launching a full-scale investigation in about bloody time. The whole thing is a rip-off. This Labor government doesn't have any street smarts. They mean well, I'm sure. But they, meaning of course us, the taxpayer, we are being ripped off with childcare costs. Doesn't matter what subsidies they give. The people who run, and some of them are very big corporations, people who run the childcare facilities, just correspondingly lift their prices. The NDIS oversees corporates, welfare cheats, you name it. And does anyone ever check all those royal commissions and inquiries on a cost-benefit analysis basis? I mean, what do we get out of it? Bang for the buck, huh? How could this latest royal commission be worth or be good value at $600 million? 5 people sitting at a bench with secretarial staff could not cost $600 million over 4 years. I don't think the government cares. They, and the rest of everything, NDIS and all that, out of control. What we need, I tell you, if we're looking for portfolios for new ministers, forget the bicycles, what about a minister for public benefit? Huh? Just check it out. Now, you know that the loony left have weaponised climate change, Aboriginals, LGBTIQ, and now, of course, they've weaponised the disabled. And, of course, I don't know if you can't speak English, you're illiterate, or you're mentally challenged, I gather you're going to be helped to fill in the ballot paper on the 14th. Now, is that right? We can talk about that on Friday as well. And speaking of the ballot, I must show you this. These are the two papers that you will get when you go in. This one looks very complicated. This is the yes vote. This is the no vote. And the how-to on the back. Very straightforward. For as long as we've been talking about this voice, it has been that what would happen would be various organisations, well, the voice, presumably being fed by various organisations, tribes and clans, would collect all the necessary vital information to turn the world around for Aboriginal people and take the quintessential solution to things like the gap and every problem that besets Aboriginality in Australia. They would simply take that to the government, and the government would then fix it. No. Talk about this tomorrow. This is the very document that you will be asked to take and to guide your vote on the 14th. Let me read you this. When Parliament, this is a description of what happens, when Parliament or the government want to improve outcomes for Indigenous Australians in areas like health and education, they would ask the voice to come up with the best solutions that will actually work and make a real practical difference. Totally the wrong way around. That's not what they said on The Insiders. That's not what Linda Burney said. That's not what all of the rhetoric about the voice has been saying for the last God knows how many months. There is something really rotten in Denmark. It could simply be that none of this has anything to do with the voice, but a lot to do with treaty. Now, Pete, you've got a little bit that we can add to today's broadcast.
Yes.
Now, this features the protagonists who were the architects of the Uluru Message from the Heart. Off camera, they were being recorded telling the truth. And the truth is, it has nothing to do with yes. It has nothing to do with the one page on the Prime Minister's wall. It has all to do with treaty. Now, I want you to listen carefully to what these people are saying. They are caught in the honest act of being themselves. And that our Prime Minister is cognizant of all of this and still is urging a yes vote is beyond belief. Could treason be a word? Now, just have a look at this.
This is not about a treaty.
But as part of treaty, which we guess will be a following step...
This is not about a treaty.
Do you foresee that compensation would be paid?
This is not about a treaty.
The culminating agenda of the Uluru Statement is treaty. A makarata to supervise a process of agreement making. culmination of our agenda.
We're saying this is how we can empower ourselves to do treaties in a better way. This is how we can use the truth. And this is how we can have political power to address the justice system and all that. And what it requires is the first step is to fight for a constitutionally enshrined voice.
Really make sure it's understood how important the voice is to truth-telling and treaty making.
Because I'm not going to say that we want this thing to exist and it has no power at all. It must have power.
Our aspirations nationally in terms of is to have a voice to the Parliament, and once we have a representative body, we will seek to negotiate a treaty with the Australian Parliament.
The Uluru Statement is about treaty, but there's a way to get there. At the moment we are powerless. If we have the voice, then we have two sovereign peoples having an equal discussion, not the power imbalance that we have now. So we will then be in charge of everything that happens after that.
At the core of Uluru is treaty. This is what Uluru called for. Makarrata is the culmination of our agenda. Let me repeat myself. At the core of the Uluru Statement is treaty.
What do you think of that? You might like to give me a call tomorrow and tell me what you think of it. And another thing, Pete found this, and I'll read it in detail, the complete thing. I won't do it here, but I will do it tomorrow. This is the order of establishment of the National Indigenous Australians Agency as an executive agency. I, General, the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove, ACMC retired Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, acting with the advice of the Federal Executive Council and under Section 65 of the Federal Public Service Act. And it goes on to set out the Indigenous, well, it's the National Indigenous Australian Agency. This is the voice. And when you hear chapter and verse, it's 2 pages, but succinct. It is exactly what they are telling us the voice is going to do. Why? This is the official document. In the archives, Government House. And they just forget it. No. These people can't do it. They won't do it. They haven't done it. They mustn't do it. $4 billion a year we pay these people to do exactly what the voice is, we are being told, is going to do. Tomorrow I'll read it to you. I think it's scary. It is scary that we have a government that is so duplicitous that it would talk to us in positive terms about a vote for which no sane person could possibly say yes to. Bizarre. But what does that say, as Alan Jones said this morning, yesterday morning? What does it say about the boards of directors, the people who run these big companies who've decided to endorse a yes vote? I clearly wouldn't trust them with my lunch money. Gee whiz. That's all too long, I think, Pete, but do we have time to do some dates?
Yes, Chef.
Okay. It's October 6. Is it? No, it's 5. I think I'm going to have to get some glasses, ladies and gentlemen. I got to get some glasses. I got one bloke out there, Pete, who keeps on sending me things about, why don't you get a better wig?
No.
But listen, you can come and pull it.
No, it's real. It's real.
It is what it is. Ah, dear. Look, if I was bald, I'd go bald gracefully. I don't give a... Anyway, October 5, 1914, World War I, the first aerial combat, resulting in a kill. I got no mention here of exactly who was killed. 1914, that was the very beginning of the First World War. Steve Jobs, American computer entrepreneur and co-founder of Apple, dies of respiratory arrest related to cancer. He was only 56. That was 2011. 62, on this day, Dr. No, the first James Bond film based on the novel by Ian Fleming, starring Sean Connery and Ursula Andress. Oh, yes. Premieres in London. That was the one. Pete, did you ever see that where she comes out of the water?
Oh, yes. It's unforgettable.
Unforgettable. Gee. Where was I? On the beach with Ursula. 1943. Steve Miller, American rocker, the Joker. Abracadabra. Fly Like an Eagle, born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 43. French Revolution. Christianity is disestablished in France, 1793. Weren't allowed to be a Christian. That's what the revolutionaries do, of course. The lefties don't want anything like the establishment. I think they broadly call it anti-disestablishmentarianism, which I understand is the longest word in the English vocabulary. Could be wrong. Adolf Hitler is wounded in the left thigh by an exploding shell during a battle of the Somme, because there were many, 1916. Ray Kroc. I spoke to Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc, the American fast food entrepreneur, he founded McDonald's. He also owned the baseball team, the San Diego Padres. I didn't know that. Anyway, he was born in Oak Park, Illinois. Died in 84, but born this day in 1902. Self-made billionaire. 1969, TV sketch comedy. That's the Monty Python Flying Circus Show. Premieres on BBC One. Glenys Johns. I loved Glenys Johns. Glenys had a wet voice. I remember that. 1923, British actress and singer Mary Poppins. A Little Night Music. Send in the Clowns. She was in the Sundowners. Born in Pretoria, South Africa. On this day in 1923, Harry Truman makes the first presidential address televised from the White House in 1947. Kate Winslet, British actress. Titanic, Sense and Sensibility. Revolutionary Road, Finding Neverland. Born in Berkshire in England in 1975. About the time I came to Adelaide. She's just a kid. 1980, Australian Williams driver Alan Jones, the other Alan Jones, wins the United States East Grand Prix to claim the first Formula One Drivers' Championship, wins by 13 points from Nelson Piquet of Brazil. 1980 was the year. The Dirty Dozen actor, Charles Bronson, weds Jill Ireland, who was married to David McCallum. He stole her. That was in 1968. Bob Geldof, the Irish singer, Boomtown Rats, I Don't Like Mondays. I Don't Like Mondays. Which gave birth to a mass killing, as I remember. 1951, Bob Geldof, born in Ireland. Last honour guard at Lenin's mausoleum. 1993, I guess they gave up after that. Donald Pleasance, the British actor, You Only Live Twice. 1919, Escape from New York, Halloween. Born in England. He died in 1995, but born 1919. Donald Pleasance. He was also in The Great Escape. Very, very good actor. Thank you very much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to your company tomorrow, 9 o'clock, at the dining room table. I'll have breakfast waiting for you. And give us a call and say what you like. Thank you very much for being with us. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Peter Clayton and I will be back with our regular podcast and Facebook posting on Monday. Believe in yourself. Bye for now.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.